welcome to my channel. This is Mike here again, and I am in front of a very gorgeous, let's see if I can get a shot of it here, sunset with the lake and my sky in the foreground here, the lake in the background, sunset going on, so I don't have a whole lot of time as far as daylight's concerned. But if you've been following my channel, you'll know that I've been doing a lot of different modifications to my Saturn sky. So what I wanted to do was today kind of come up with a video showing you the updates, how the mods have been holding off since I installed them. I'm going to go through the ones that I can remember, and like I said, kind of give you an update how they're holding off and how things are going, if I had any problems with them or if they're still doing really well. So that's going to be today's video, and I'm going to get started right now. Alright, the first one that's up is going to be the plastic dip wheels. I know that was one that a lot of people said, hey, whenever they're done, you know, update us on how well they last, and you know, if the paint's going to be peeling or anything like that. And actually, I got to tell you, I'm pretty impressed. Let me give you some close-ups here of the plastic dip. Haven't had any kind of peeling or chips or anything like that going on, which is pretty good. Now, I do use a product, I'll put a link below, that I add to it after every time I wash it. It's supposed to kind of help protect the plastic dip as well. But I've actually been driving all different types of driving. I've been driving in the rain, I've been driving normal on the highway, normally around the neighborhood, and in fact we even went to a local fair here a couple weeks ago, and that place had a bunch of high grass and dirt and stones and everything else, and it actually worked out pretty well. So yeah, kind of like what they're doing. All four wheels are doing really well. Now eventually I do want to get my own set of wheels. They're not plastic dip, actual black wheels that are painted on there. So you know, kudos to the plastic dip people. They do last as long as you put enough coats, and I think that extra stuff that I add on there helps as well. So that's a good one. The other thing are the painted calipers. While I'm looking at the wheels here, painted calipers, they are also still holding up really well. The paint is staying on there. Obviously they get dirty because of the brake dust, and kind of hard to clean with the wheels on there, but they're looking pretty good. And the paint's not chipping or anything's going on there as well, which is decent. And then also my new rotors, those are lasting pretty good too. I mean, they were zinc, I think it was zinc coated, so they're not rusting at all. They're still a little early. I've only had them for a couple of months, so we'll see how that works out. All right, let's check out the engine. So far the paint is doing really well on the painted engine cover that I have here. It's working out really good. No painting peel or peeling paint or anything like that. Nothing's melting, and I'm assuming that's because I use the high resolution or high temperature paint on there. I don't have regular paint on there to kind of compare whether that is actually doing any good or not, but the high temperature paint is definitely working. So if you're going to do it, you might as well. It's not that big of a difference, or I don't even know if there's any different price difference between high temperature paint and otherwise, but go ahead and do that and it should be fine. The cold air intake, again, that's doing quite well. I know some people were saying I might have to get it retuned because of different airflow and yada yada yada. Well, no codes came up. Actually, it works perfectly. It sounds pretty cool. Gives it kind of a deeper sound to it whenever I really punch it. So that is also working well. And if you watch my video, it's pretty easy to install. It took me a little longer than normal simply because I was videotaping as I was doing it. But anyway, that's a quick install. It could probably be about 30 minutes to do that. So kudos to DDM Works, and their cold air intake works out real well. Alright, the other thing that's working real well for me are the LED headlights. They are both working well, and the high beams. Oh, it's getting kind of crowded here. Unfortunately, I had to move to a different location. There's a whole bunch of boats starting to come into to that boat launch. It was making all kinds of noise, so switch locations. Still a nice background except for this SUV behind me. But anyway, let me go ahead and talk a little bit about the headlights. My LED headlights are still doing very well. As you can see, they're on. Working really good for me there. And the high beams are the same way. Both of them are there and on here. They're still just as bright as they were whenever I first installed them, which is good. And the only thing that happened Now I got a dog barking. This place is really busy all of a sudden, I guess because it's such a nice day. The only thing that actually happened, one time I was sitting in a parking lot talking to somebody and kind of showing the lights, and it was a very hot night. It was probably like 98 degrees or whatever. Had the engine running, and the hood was down, and the driver's side light all of a sudden went out. And I thought, well, this is kind of crappy. But here's what I think happened: is I believe that it's basically for safety purposes. I think they actually do that on purpose so that, well, pretty dark. I think they pretty much do that on purpose, so if it does get overheated, the light automatically turns off, because even though the fan was blowing with the headlight, it was so hot under the hood that it was just too hot and it turned off. And haven't had any problems ever since. It never happened while I was actually driving and air was kind of circulating through. So I think that's actually kind of hopefully a positive thing. And like I said, it hasn't happened since, which is good. So my headlights still pretty happy with those, and those are also good to go. Now onto the inside. The piping still looks good going around the inside of the door panel. It's still staying on there pretty well. I know if you watch the video, I actually put some glue on this part because there wasn't a very tight fit there, so I kind of sucked some glue on there. But everything else is working really well here, and the passenger side is looking good as well. So no problems there. That was a nice cheap $12 or $10, I forget how much that cost to fix that, which is I'm pretty happy with. The other thing I installed was my head unit, my Pioneer head unit. Pretty happy with this as well. Still, let me turn this air off. Works out really well. Does the Pandora, does the Spotify. The only thing that I'm a little bit disappointed with is, and I haven't figured it out, but sometimes Spotify will work and sometimes it won't. I'm not really sure why that is the case. And Pandora has always worked on here, but like I said, Spotify is hit or miss. You know, sometimes it'll work perfectly for a few days, and all of a sudden it'll come up with some kind of crazy message that it doesn't work anymore. And I haven't been able to figure it out. I've searched online and can't find any solution. And the people that do actually have solutions, none of those worked out for me. But if you guys actually have Android Auto with some sort of Pioneer unit, and if you're having that problem or had that problem and fixed it, please let me know what you did to fix it, because that's really the only thing that I'm disappointed. I definitely like that they included, now they actually have Waze as part of Android Auto. I like Waze a lot better than Google Maps, so that's a nice feature as well. And the way it's hooked up, I have bought one of those magnet things they advertise on Facebook a lot, and I have my cable going from back by the head unit up, and I plug it in. As soon as I plug it in, Android Auto starts. But I still have the regular functionality with the regular audio as well. I haven't used it for so long. Oh, here it is, HD. Then that'll actually bring up regular TV, regular FM stations. I don't even have any of them set up yet, believe it or not, because I always listen to Pandora or Amazon, or like I said, the Spotify, or whenever Spotify works. The other neat thing is you can actually change the background, so I kind of have a shot of my sky behind there as well. So overall, like I said, I'm pretty happy about the Pioneer unit. Backup camera also works out really well for me. Put it in reverse. There's the camera, and what's really nice is whenever you're backing into spots, you can actually adjust these lines that are on here, but you can use these lines to kind of help you line up the lines that are on the in the parking lot. So it's really nice whenever you're backing into a spot. That works out really well. And plus, being a wide angle like this, if somebody's walking behind you, you can actually see them. You know, if you have a couple of cars parked on each side of you, you can actually see somebody walking behind you, where you might not be able to see them just by sitting in your car. So happy with those. The other things that I have working still are my LED lights under the mirror. Those are working good. No flickering, no staying on whenever I shut the car off or anything like that. So those are working out really well. And then the other thing are the LED lights under the footwells. You can see those are working as well. No problems there. No problems on that side. I kind of like those, but I might end up changing those to one of those ones that you can adjust or change the colors. You know, I'm thinking about rather than just always being blue, you know, I'm just not sure where I would put the knob where you can actually adjust the colors. And I know there's even some out there where you can use your cell phone Android app, or I guess an iPhone probably has the same thing. But anyway, that's kind of a low priority change, since it was so easy to install. I might go ahead and just do that sometime. Let's see, the trunk light is still working just as well. I'm not going to go ahead and pop that up either. But let me go ahead and show you the seat covers. Okay, I'm still happy with the seat covers. However, one thing that I might end up doing, I'm thinking about doing, is, like right now these seat covers are actually just over top of my leather seats, so there's nothing really attached. So they kind of like have straps and hooks underneath that you hook up, and then so just kind of like sitting here over top. So I'm thinking about doing is just to kind of make them stay solid, because sometimes when I get out they kind of move around and get air underneath them and that kind of stuff. So what I'm thinking about doing is taking it apart again. I actually have this originally had cloth seats, and then I switched it to leather seats, and I switched it to this. So I'm thinking about actually putting the cloth seats back on, and then using some material adhesive or fabric adhesive, and actually gluing the seat cover bottom part here to the fabric one that's on there, so it has a good grip. And maybe add a little bit more, or maybe by doing that it'll add a little bit more bolster to there, because it's just kind of, like I said, just kind of sitting on top. And I actually added padding underneath here as well, just to make it a little bit softer, more comfortable on longer rides, debating whether I would keep that on there or not. And that's probably one of the reasons why this bolstering isn't very high up, because I have that extra padding on there. So when I take it apart and see what I want to do as far as gluing it down, that's gonna be an option on whether I leave that padding in there or not. The back one here, I actually, because there's a gap between here, I was able to add some memory foam piece to kind of help the lumbar support. So the back is actually really comfortable. The bolstering on the sides, there's some on there, not as much as if this was pushed all the way in. As you can kind of see, it kind of gives you a little bit of gap between there. I'm not sure if I would glue this down. Might be something to think about. Don't want to stretch it out too much. Plus I like that lumbar support underneath here as well. So kind of debating what I would do with this. But overall, I mean, as far as wear and tear, I don't ride this like constantly. It's not my daily driver. But the seats are not wearing out, but they're wearing very well. And for the price, I'm pretty happy with them. So if I do end up gluing these seats, I might I'll try to make a video of that, just to kind of show you what goes on with that, and post that up on YouTube as well. So I think that's pretty much it for the mods that I have. Again, I'm very happy with just about everything I've done so far. I got a bunch of more stuff that I want to do as far as lighting, and gotta get a wing on the back, maybe some striping or something on it. And as I do these things, obviously I'll be posting some videos when I can for you guys to all see. So that's pretty much it for today's video. Hopefully it was exciting enough for you. I know, like I said, I haven't been working on too many mods recently, simply because I've been pretty busy at work, and the holiday just happened, Labor Day just happened, so haven't had a lot of time to mess. Plus, it's been in the high 90-degree weather here, so it's kind of tough to be motivated in a garage doing modifications in such hot weather. So, but I promise you, I will be doing more. And as I do them, I will be uploading to the video. If you do like what I'm doing, please go ahead, subscribe, hit like, tell your friends. Have any questions or comments, or put them below, definitely. And until then, I'll see you at the next video.